Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we delve into a topic that lies at the heart of building lasting brands, the power of storytelling in brand building. This session will explore how brands can foster meaningful connections and leverage community power for sustained growth. Leading this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Mr. Amit Doshi, the Chief Marketing Officer at Britannia Industries Limited. Mr. Amit Doshi, the Chief Marketing Officer at Britannia Industries Limited, brings over 2 decades of experience in driving impactful brand transformations. Well, he's known for his innovative marketing strategies. He has previously led successful campaigns at Lenovo and Samsung. Mr. Amit is a champion of consumer engagement and modern brand storytelling, making him a thought leader in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like all of you to please put your hands together for Mr. Amit Doshi as he takes over the stage. Thank you.
I don't know where Samsung came from. I use a Samsung, but I never marketed it. Okay, thanks a lot. I mean, it's lovely to see such a nice and cozy setting in the middle of Bangalore. Thanks, Gurmeet, for having me here. And hopefully we'll do less of talking and more of seeing, and have some fun as we get into the evening. I think that and the idea that when we were putting this together, the idea was also to see how do we really look at what built the discipline of marketing in the first place. It was always about having a great product that fits into the lives of people, having it at the right price, making it accessible, and then telling stories that are both true, authentic, and moving. And that's what really builds brands for the long term. And what's happened is over a period of time, as media has got more fragmented and our attentions have got much shorter, we've started to, and rightly so maybe, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, we've started to live inside the funnel, and it's important every now and then to just step outside and reflect upon what makes great brands. Because if one has the right message, the most meaningful message, and the right story to tell, actually the funnel becomes a lot easier for consumers to slide through. And what we've got today here is a lot of examples. That's what I've always believed in. There is a framework, but the framework exists more, I would say, as learning, as nuggets looking back, rather than having this definitive thing that we had in mind when we started on this journey, let's say about 2 or 3 years back. So what we did was we pulled out all the work that we felt was fresh internally, that has worked, more importantly. So this is not just creativity for creativity's sake, but it's creativity that's cut through, that's delivered breakthrough results. So some of it is stuff that's been consistent over a period of time, and we've just freshened up the stories. And some of it is new and different, where we're trying to challenge ourselves. So, look, these are the 7 things that really came to our minds when we thought about storytelling at Britannia. I don't think this is a framework necessarily that I prescribe, but when we looked back at our body of work, we said, okay, these are 7 things that stand out for us. And it's not that all of these 7 apply to every problem that we're trying to solve, but they have appeared every now and then in the way we work, the way we think, and the way we deploy our stories. At the heart, effective storytelling's got to solve a problem. It's got to do a job for the brand that builds the brand and effectively builds a long-term business. So the first one's learning from the past, and hopefully we'll try to bring all of this alive through examples. How do you build a culture leading narrative rather than being a mirror to the society all the time? There is a lot of possibility in storytelling that's now possible, which wasn't earlier so easy to do. And that's because of new technology and artificial intelligence, especially Gen AI. The power of collaboration. I couldn't underscore that more. Finally, how do you really modernize brands? And modernizing brands sometimes doesn't require a fancy story. It just requires a breakthrough product, and everything else falls into place. Consumers want to experience stuff. They want to interact with content. They just don't want to. They want to be a part of the story today. They just don't want to hear stories. And finally, that's the one that I believe in the most, which is, if you please just forget all the other six. There are no rules really. You've got to make your own playbook. You've got to make your own framework. And today morning I was listening to a very, very interesting video. You must, if you're interested, you can hear it as well. This was Anupama Chopra doing this roundtable with India's best directors, talking about why is the Indian movie industry struggling. And at the heart of the problem lay the fact that storytelling and storytellers have actually become marginalized, and it's become too commercial, and actors are getting paid obscene amounts, and the people who create the stories are actually struggling for existence and their voice. The first one's from Milk Bikis. Milk Bikis has been around for decades, for many, many years. And this is a wonderful example. This actually goes about 4 or 5 years back, where, and when you're building brands and helming brands which are multi-decade brands, you've got to make sure that to create new stories, you will always find some stories in the closet somewhere. And what we realized was that consumers really longed for this pack, this product called Milk Bikis, which we call Milk Bikis Classic now, but it was always Milk Bikis for a generation of consumers. And the team that was working on Milk Bikis then chose to actually bring it back as this vintage edition. And what seemed like a limited edition launch to just appease these consumers who were on social media asking for their Milk Bikis actually ended up becoming a permanent stay. And a special moment for us is when we removed the limited edition tag from the pack. And in just one state, this one brand today does more than 100 crores of turnover. One pack, one state, it does 100 crores of turnover. And that's really the proof of the pudding when it comes to really, really powerful storytelling. So let me play this. I hope, what do I need to click for that? Next, okay.
எங்க அப்பாவும் மில்க் பிக்கிஸ் சாப்பிட ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாரு. அது ஏதோ மில்க் பிக்கிஸ் கிளாசிக்கா. எப்படி சாப்பிடுவாரு தெரியுமா?
டேய், முதல்ல இந்த பூ போட்ட பார்டர் கடியும்.
கடிக்கிறாரு கரகரகரன்னு கடிச்சிட்டே இருக்காரு.
இத சாப்பிடுறதே ஒரு தனி கலடா.
அண்ணன் ஏன் பேரு சூப்பரே.
பேரு வந்துதான், ஆனா மில்க் பிக்கிஸ் எந்த
இப்போ வந்தாச்சு உங்க அந்த நாள் ஃபேவரட் பிரிட்டானியா மில்க் பிக்கிஸ் கிளாசிக். அதே மகிழ்ச்சி, அதே மில்க் பிக்கிஸ்.
This story was completely carved out from the rituals that consumers had adopted, which was to eat that Milk Bikis biscuit in a way that the letters of Britannia don't get broken. So where do you want to get inspiration? Look at it in your past, look at it among the consumers who've given you so much love. And then what we did was we built on that story, we created a new chapter, and we said, look, if there's so much love around the design of the biscuit and what's written on the biscuit, why not challenge that and change that completely? So we went back again, and there were a lot of nicknames. People who are familiar with the Tamil language, the culture, again at Britannia, that's a very special, that's very close to our hearts. We realized that there were a lot of nicknames that kids in 80s and 90s used to use, which have gone out of circulation. So we put those nicknames actually on top of biscuits, and consumers actually for the first time saw that Britannia had gone missing from the biscuit, and that created a lot of intrigue, and we got consumers to actually send their videos, parents and kids together, parents talking about the nickname that they used to be called by. So it was also a bonding moment for parents and kids together. Another hook that you can usually use is can you go against the grain of the culture? Do you want to be a mirror brand or do you want to be a magnet? And what we've done traditionally in Marigold is always zagged when everyone else is zigging. So we said, okay, everyone's trying to talk to the homemakers. We looked at where the homemakers' aspiration lay, and it wasn't. It was latent at that point in time, which was women who were educated but were not really pursuing or living up to the educational qualifications or aspirations that they have. We said, okay, can we spark a culture of entrepreneurialism and lead the way as homemakers in the country have to be seen.
रागिनी,
Raise the voice.
पहचाना नहीं? मैं हूँ 20 साल की रागिनी। इवेंट प्लान करने में तो मैं आज भी उतनी ही खुशी मिलती है ना? इसलिए मैंने सोचा अगर हम फिर से मिल लेंगे तो तुम वही सपने देखने की फिर से ठान लोगी। रागिनी इवेंट प्लानर्स के लिए अभी भी देर नहीं हुई है।
मैं रागिनी अपना सपना पूरा करने के लिए ब्रिटानिया मैरीगोल्ड हर स्टार्टअप कॉन्टेस्ट में भाग लेना चाहती हूँ। वापस आ रहा है ब्रिटानिया मैरीगोल्ड हर स्टार्टअप कॉन्टेस्ट NSTC के साथ।
This has been a brilliant initiative over the last 5 years, and we've had more than 4 million women participating as part of this initiative. And Britannia has actually done initial funding for 40 businesses, out of which 28 have become real businesses. A lot is said about, is Gen AI a fad? Is Gen AI something that's, taking away from storytelling? We actually in Britannia believe quite the contrary. We believe that generative AI and new technology is an area where we want to make a forward move, and this is actually going to supercharge our stories. Britannia Bourbon is in its 70th year. It's one of the most loved brands across the country, and actually one could argue, and I would argue with friends from the most famous chocolate brands in the country, that it was Britannia Bourbon who introduced the chocolate flavor to the country and not the bars. But what we also realized that people really love it. So when you go on social media, we saw that people are really making wonderful stuff using Britannia Bourbon. They're making their own recipes. So we said, okay, can we then provide a stimulus and use technology to actually supercharge this? And what we did was a really interesting activation. This was the first collaboration that a brand did with Google's Gemini platform in India. And what we created was this platform called Bourbonate, where you could actually just scan anything around you, let's say a dish around you, or you could upload a YouTube link, or you could scan an image and upload it. And what this special custom AI agent would do is to convert this into actually a recipe with steps using Britannia Bourbon. And what we found is people really lapped it up. So we had more than 1.5 million scans. We had 2.5 lakh recipes that got generated. And people actually converted these recipes generated by AI into actual, plated them out, and 26,000 of them went up. This is one of my favorite examples. This is how today we live in the world of collaboration. Brands are getting created, stories are being told not just by the brand, they're getting co-created with consumers, and it's a wonderful world to really do crossovers. And Good Days always stood for moments of joy and optimism and happiness, and we stand for small joys, much like a bite of Good Day every morning. And that's what we started celebrating. And then we realized, and you can find stories in the most unlikely places. So we came across this article written by The Independent in UK, which said, these are the 100 smallest joys that people experience all over the world, and it's all common across the world. And one of them was finding a note, a currency note you had forgotten, but you wear your pair of jeans or your pair of trousers and you suddenly realize, oh, there's a note there, right? It could just be a 10 rupee note, but it has a joy that's unparalleled. So we did this.
I got a call that said, hey, how do you think we could get cookies to sell more pants?
Whether you're 10 years old or 60 years young, you all love finding forgotten money in your pockets, don't you?
But ever since we've gone cashless, that joy has gone missing.
That's until Britannia Good Day, India's biggest cookie brand, that's all about celebrating the small wins in life. Put their money where their mouth is.
Good Days, guerrilla activation, the bank of small wins, and a completely new medium, Pant Pockets, as the campaign literally puts money in your pockets.
They've stopped 10 lakhs worth of this new currency into 1 lakh pockets across Myntra's collection.
For 48 hours over 5 geographies, 400 people working on this to crumple these notes, put them in pants, and have them shipped out to consumers in no time.
That's not it.
They collaborated with one of India's biggest laundry chains, UClean, and Bombay Closet Cleanse, a chain of thrift stores in Mumbai.
I have the Good Days Bank small wins currency in our pockets in store.
And this Britannia really wants to get into our pants, huh?
Wait, is there a note in my pocket?
You are one of 100,000 people finding this note in their pocket.
Bro, I like it when brands do like cool stuff like this. Like TK, you're selling me something, but also you're at least trying
There's
to...
an experience. And because India loves scribbling on their currency, we scribbled on ours too.
Again, it has Neeraj Chopra's signature, by the way.
There's one single note with a 50,000 rupee cashback.
Obviously, ये नोट मैं किसी और को दूंगा जिसको मुझसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत होगी.
A random collection of lakhs of people reached into their pockets thinking they're having just another day and ended up having a good day instead.
The medium for storytelling could again be the most unconventional. The medium for storytelling here was a currency note, and that currency note is where the agency spent the most amount of time on to really perfect it. And as you saw in the video, we had more Myntra people speaking about the story than Britannia folks. I mean, a big shout out to all the folks who collaborated with us. Sometimes the most powerful story or the most powerful statement can be the product itself. So Jim Jam, which is again one of the most loved products, we flipped the top of Jim Jam and we created this product which is getting a lot of love. It's called Jim Jam Pops, completely different. And we've always had these characters called Jimmy and Jammy who've rallied around this brand and has made this iconic. But we said, okay, but what's so special about this biscuit? I can say, hey, here's this thing and it's got an open top and a dollop. And someone at the creative agency came up with this wonderful story. And that's the point. Stories are to be invented. They're not always about being real. They said, what's the most differentiating aspect of this biscuit? Is the fact that you don't have to open it. You don't have to, therefore, use 2 hands to eat a cream biscuit. It's the most, absurd thing that one could have thought of. But this is what they really built with it.
Jimmy, हाँ Jimmy. Dear twist करने वाले cream biscuit. पिछले 2 वर्ल्ड कप में आपने ऐड चलाए. पहले वापस लाओ 2011. फिर बोल मत. दोनों बार कहानी में ट्विस्ट आया. हम वर्ल्ड कप हार गए. इसीलिए हम 140 करोड़ इंडियंस की तरफ से आपसे विनती करते हैं. इस वर्ल्ड कप नो ऐड, नो ट्विस्ट, प्लीज. ब्रिटानिया जिम जैम पॉप बिल्कुल भी ट्विस्ट नहीं है. नो ट्विस्ट, जस्ट लिक एंड पॉप.
I hope when we talk about a biscuit that is associated with the word twist, it rings a bell in your mind. And this biscuit tried very hard this biscuit brand from competition tried very hard for 2 years, actually 2 tournaments, not 2 years, to rally behind India and to get them to win the World Cup. And India lost both times. And we really made a plea to this brand to not make an ad for this World Cup, the T20 World Cup that just went by. Thankfully, they listened to us. They didn't make an ad. And you know what happened, right? So that works. When you do the right kind of manifestation, even competition listens.
Jimmy! India! हम वर्ल्ड कप जीत गए! We broke the jinx, bro! इस बार no twist! हमारे साथ पूरे 140 करोड़ इंडियंस हैं! देख भाई देख! जिमी यार तू मुंबई में परेड देख रहा है यार. मुझे इतना फोमो हो रहा है मैं आ नहीं पाया यार। जीतने की खुशी में ब्रिटानिया जिम जैम पॉप्स ने एक नया स्पेशल पैक एडिशन निकाला है इंडिया ट्राई कलर के साथ। That is so cool यार। Big shout to Northwest, big shout to Northwest। यार मैं शहर से बाहर क्यों हूँ यार, मुझे परेड में होना था जिमी।
Sometimes stories have to be pre-thought. So the special edition pack was lined up to be released if India were to win the World Cup. And we launched it actually at the victory parade. That's the real victory parade that's happening there. And you can, as you can see, the video footage is extremely raw and in the moment. And both of our celebrities, the brand ambassadors, were kind enough to, one of them was kind enough to just rush across. Took a local train, by the way, Kunal Roy Kapoor. Took a local train, he couldn't go through the traffic, he jumped on, Varun couldn't make it. And they did this video call. All of this conceptualized in a matter of 24 hours. A lot of times, stories are about experiences, right? I mean, if you look at the content that's emerging out, it's going to become more and more interactive. So we said, okay, can we involve consumers in storytelling? And we, and they become a part of our stories. So, you know about Milk Bikis, and a while back we said, okay, Milk Bikis has always stood for growth and nurturance, but why should the mum be the only one to do it? So we said, can we co-opt dads? And one of the things we realized when we spoke to dads was that they do want to make a sincere effort to engage their kids, but sometimes they just don't have the tools, or they don't make an effort, or make effort enough, I would say. So we said, can we make it a little easier for them, whether they're not able to do it or they're lazy? Maybe there's an interesting way to do it.
No story, na? No homework.
கதையா?
இப்ப பாரு ஒரு ஊர்ல இருந்து ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவாரு. அவ கதை பிடிக்கலன்னு ஓடிடுவா. டெய்லி இதே வேலை தான்.
நீங்க பேசுனீங்களா?
சார் கதைனா ஒரு ட்விஸ்ட் ஒரு பஞ்ச், நீங்க எதுக்கு சரிப்பட்டு வர மாட்டீங்க?
ஆஃப்டர் ஆல் ஒரு பென்சில் நீ.
நான் ஒரு மேஜிக் கொண்டா இருக்கலாமே. நான் UFO. செக்கர். நான் ராக்கெட். நான் டைம் மிஷன்.
அடேங்கப்பா.
அதேதான். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பிரிட்டானியா மில்க் பிக்கிஸ் பேக்கை ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்ச வீட்டு சாமான ஸ்கேன் பண்ணுங்க. பிரிட்டானியா மில்க் பிக்கிஸ் இனி அன்லிமிட்டட் ஸ்டோரிஸ் தரும் பேக்கும் கூட. பேக்கை ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி ஸ்டோரிஸை பார்த்து உங்க குழந்தைய இம்ப்ரெஸ் பண்ணி வெறும் ஆப்பால இருந்து ஆகுங்க. அடேங்கப்பா.
So this one's a custom AI that was built, but it was built in vernacular. That was really where the challenge is. You could scan any object around you and the AI would convert that into a story using the object as a character. But you had to make it child safe. The story had to be in Tamil. It had to be short. It had to be fun for the child who's from a young age. And this was again a great example of how you combine traditional storytelling with modern tools. And again, we've seen some fantastic response, and close to 1 lakh stories got generated by parents in the state of Tamil Nadu. Finally, coming to the one I that believe the most in, which is there are no rules really. You've got to be at the heart of the brand. You've got to be with the consumer, and you've got to be collaborating with your creative partners, building the trust, taking creative risks to come up with stuff that is truly groundbreaking. And this is one of my favorite examples. This was done by the croissant team, and it's a lovely snack, but it's difficult to pronounce. And the challenge that the teams were dealing with was people said, look, people don't know what to call it. By the way, this is a 100 crore brand at Britannia. We sell 100 crores worth of croissant every year, and it's growing really fast. But people don't know how to pronounce it. So the challenge was, the campaign brief started saying, okay, so how do we get consumers to pronounce it? Remember the good old Alpenliebe ad where Perfetti did a brilliant job in getting consumers to pronounce it. We said, okay, let's flip it back. If people don't know about it, can we really get people excited about it? So what the team
मेरे लिए 3-4 क्रिस क्रॉस लिया ना, अरे जो मैं रोज खाता हूँ ना चाय के साथ वो.
So this is what the team did. So they said, if you know how to pronounce it right, we'll give you 3 lakh rupees and a day's internship. And this really took off. This took off like we had not imagined. The simplest of things. More than 11 million, hardly any cost. You know what the cost of this is? 3 lakhs. Look at the engagement. And this is what I call truly entrepreneurial storytelling, because this team didn't really have budgets. This team didn't have money to actually make a funnel, which forced them to actually think out of the funnel. And this totally changed the game. And now what's happened is it's actually become a strong campaign peg, a creative peg for the team. So everything now that this team does is actually to make fun or actually play along with consumers and who are struggling to pronounce. Coming to the final one, which is our latest work for Pure Magic Stars, Choco Stars, and this is this wonderful product which is this cookie with chocolate on top shaped like a star, and we said, okay, we just need some work to announce it, and the creative agency, which is the Womb, came back with something totally unconventional, something that totally blew our minds off, and they said, the creative head said, do you know in how many ways can the human race eat Pure Magic Choco Stars? And everyone was puzzled, and they said, it's just 12, which is the 12 different sun signs, and all of them behave differently. And again, this is popular stuff we like to believe in. No one knows whether it's actually true or not. But you read your prediction and you always feel that, oh, that person's writing about me. Bejan Daruwala knows me so deeply, right? And a lot of us from the previous generation, the younger lot may not relate to it, came up in the days of Linda Goodman and Bejan Daruwala, and it was a thing apparently then, and it is a thing apparently now as well. So we said, can we therefore create 12 stories, not one story. So this is the same old, let's have a delightful consumption shot to show indulgence, but we'll show it in 12 different ways, because all star signs are different. And this product was made for e-commerce, it's made for modern channels. So the main advertising channel was going to be Meta and YouTube and so on. So we said, okay, let's make it for that medium, but the way it gets consumed. So we made 12 stories. And I'll just play a few snippets.
Sagittarius eats Choco Stars.
The childlike way. Crusty cookie with so much chocolate. How you'll eat Britannia Pure Magic Choco Stars.
How star sign Capricorn eats Choco Stars.
Me haces derretir, mi amor. Te deslizas sobre.
The pyar bharavi. Crusty cookie with so much chocolate. How you'll eat Britannia Pure Magic Choco Stars.
And what it's created is a lot of conversation where people are like, okay, but this is not me, this is not what my sun sign is like. Some people are saying, okay, I relate to this, I believe in what you're saying. And it's created a completely different graph and a completely different syntax for the brand, which can hopefully build the brand in the long term. So if you want to know whether you agree with what the star sign that you belong to eats Choco Stars the way we say, you can scan this code and the playlist is available if you want to do that. Thanks a lot, and it was great being here.